and welcome again to Creative Connections. I'm Gary Blanchard, and today my guest is Marie Lauderdale, the Programs Director for Workshop 13. Welcome, Marie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So I've been looking forward to having you on, and I want to start out by asking, how did you get involved with Workshop 13?
Right, so I got involved, I guess it's probably about 4 years ago, and like many people, it was word of mouth. Someone said, hey, have you been over to that art studio place over on Church Street? And I was just like, I've no. And I finally found myself going up Church Street one day, so I stopped and went inside, and Rock Goudreau was there, and I started talking to him, and he gave me a tour of the building, and I just immediately fell in love with it. I mean, it's a fantastic space. And yeah, that kind of started me my involvement with Workshop 13. So from there it just spurred into volunteering, and then I started a few programs. At the time I was homeschooling my children, so I was looking for a space to run a co-op, and an art co-op particularly.
Okay.
So yeah, so that started there. It was a program called Masters in the Morning.
Okay.
And which is still running. It's very successful, actually.
Oh, that's
so it's
great.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great program. And then from Masters in the Morning just came volunteering a lot, and then I joined the board of directors, and then about a year and a half ago, a position came available as the programs director, and I thought, this is absolutely perfect for me. And it was at the same time that my children were going we were like, okay, homeschooling, we're ready to move out of that and transition into public schools. So they got a spot in the school that we wanted, and I got a job, and yeah, so I've been there ever since.
Well, that's great. That's great. So you have watched the center grow.
Yes.
And it has grown a lot from when it first started. So what are some of the programs that you are perhaps maybe the most proud of? Right.
Oh boy, that would be hard. We offer many. I think our youth programs are really growing at the moment. There's illustrating class with Rock, which is very popular, and art exploration for kids. We've just started doing an open studio time, which is starting to really pick up. And
okay. And just so, because I'm probably not sure I totally understand.
Yeah.
What is an open studio?
So open studio is a time when people can come in. So we have that on Wednesdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it's a drop-in class. So it would be like if you are an artist working on something and you want advice or critique, and you can come in, and Gary Lippincott and Rock Goudreau are there along with other artists like Susan Pecora. They kind of take turns on who's going to be the host artist of the evening, and they're there to just kind of you can show them what you're working on, and they can give you advice if that's what you're seeking. And it's also just a great way to meet other people who also share your enthusiasm for arts.
Right.
So,
and I think that's such a difficult thing sometimes, particularly in small towns. Where do I find people who are into the arts?
Right.
So that sounds like an excellent opportunity
Yeah.
to not only get some help with your artwork, but just to use that terrible term, to network.
Yes, and
and connect with people.
Right.
So that's
and it's the connection, the meetup. It's really optimal for that, and because it's a drop-in program, it doesn't require. Because sometimes people will look at our programs and say, "Well, I can't commit to 4-week class," and that's a little too much. But this being able to just drop in, and then also to drop in and to have use of art materials that you may not have at home. So
right.
You could come in and say, oh, I think I'd like to try, I'd like to try printmaking today, and they could try that. So these are things that we have available. So.
Okay, that's wonderful. So there are some really exciting new things coming up for Workshop 13.
Yes, yes.
And one of them will take place on Main Street.
Yes, that's right. So our current location on Church Street, we offer a lot of classes in different mediums, but one thing that has always been requested is clay. And people are looking for a place to do hand building and wheel throwing. And we tried it at the workshop a few years ago, but it really needs a designated space. It's not something you can just clean up and then change over to printmaking the next day. You need to do, you need your own space. And so this was always in the back of our heads, like, gosh, we really wish we had a space. And just around the time that was coming up for us, the QVCDC approached us and said, we have this building on Main Street. So the long story, or I'll try to make it shorter, but the building on Main Street at the corner of Main and Bank, it's where the old jewelry store used to be and Richard Maynard's office. So that building was donated by Country Bank, and it was donated to the QVCDC. And with the intention of, they kind of said, we want to see something productive happening here. So when people drive down Main Street, we want to be able to look in the windows and see stuff going on. So, so the QVCDC thought, well, it should be art related. That might be, some kind of a maker space. So, yeah, so they approached us and said, do you have any ideas? And we thought, oh, yes, the clay studio would be perfect. So, yeah, so we started, and that was about 1.5 years ago. We started collaborating with the QVCDC, and we wrote a grant with them to get funding to build out the space for a clay studio. So one space is a clay studio, and the one next to it is an art gallery. So yeah, so it's pretty exciting, and that has all, everything is gone through. In fact, we're there a lot these days, and we hope now to open by, well, our opening date keeps pushing off a little for one reason or another, but we're really pretty confident that it will be in January. So
that's really,
it is
coming up quickly.
Yes, coming up quickly, and we're really again excited because this is, this pottery studio. When we were looking into offering this, we did a survey, of course, to see what the community wanted, and then we did further research to see, well, where is the nearest one, and what's around here. And there's one in a pottery studio in Florence, Mass, and then there's Worcester. But there's really nothing in this area, so it really seemed, ideal, and just so that the people that it will bring to the town and supporting other local businesses by going out to eat and all that stuff is just really.
And working with clay is, I'm sure, something that takes a lot of equipment that many people could not afford.
That's right. So yes, because you would need a wheel. Well, if you wanted to throw a wheel, and the bigger item would be the kiln, which is huge, and then to have electricity and then have space for that. So yeah, in fact. We're still putting together the business model, but it will be one in which people can come and just try it out for a day, like a mini workshop. And if they liked it, then they can sign up for a longer class. But if they didn't want to take a class, there would be like membership opportunities, because there are some master potters around who just prefer working in a space with other potters rather than just being home alone. You actually want to come and be part of a community. So.
And I think that's one of the difficulties. I'm a musician, and that tends to be a very social form of art. Right. But, a lot of times I think with the fine arts, it is a little more solitary.
Yes, yeah.
And I can see that there's a lot of advantages to having a place where you can interact with other artists.
Right.
And, not feel quite so alone.
Right, right.
And, as well as just comparing ideas and...
Yeah.
So that's great. And then it'll also be an art studio.
Yes, so
an art gallery.
Yep. So the clay studio will be at the very corner of Bank and Main, and right next door will be a gallery. So that's really exciting as well, because that is it's called Artworks, so Clayworks and Artworks, and the gallery space will have. It will be a co-op style gallery, and there will be like certain co-op members, but then there'll be like curated shows several times a year that are juried and curated. And this is all just it's really to showcase all the talents that we have in this area. I mean, there's so many talented artists around here.
There really are.
Yeah.
And, there is a gallery in West Brookfield, which is a newer thing.
Yeah.
But I think, you can never have too many galleries.
Right.
And, it sounds like it will give people an opportunity to show their work.
Yes.
And, also, it seems like it will be more of a drop-in, anytime type of thing.
Yep. Yes, the hours, I think I just saw something, the hours, it will be open in the evenings most days, but like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that. But absolutely, and we were really, when we were deciding on the name, we weren't sure if we should call it a gallery because we didn't want to put people off. We wanted it to sound like an inviting place,
right. Yeah.
And so we really hope that folks kind of look in the window and say, oh, that does look like a place that I can go into and feel comfortable, because it will have showcase fine arts, but there will also be things there'll be a lot of things that are, for instance, that you can purchase, like books that were illustrated by local artists. So there's, there's really going to be a plethora of things in that space.
Great.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
And it will give you a presence on Main Street.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes I'm still amazed when I talk to people and say Workshop 13, and they say, well, what's that?
Yes. Yes.
And so what are you guys doing to kind of increase the awareness?
Right. Yes, you're absolutely right. I hear that all the time. People say, I've lived in Ware my whole life and I had no idea you were there.
Right.
So it's always like, oh, what are we doing wrong? So as a nonprofit, we have very little budget for marketing. It's just not possible. So this past summer, we decided that instead of bringing people to Workshop 13 would go out into the community more. So we purchased a tent, a 10 by 10 pop-up tent, and got a sign made and set out to attend all the festivals. So we started off in the West Brookfield with the Garlic and Arts Fest, the Asparagus Festival.
Right.
And then we did Hardwick Fair and Belchertown Fair, and then the Garlic and Arts Fest. So we kind of made our way around the valley, and really that purpose was just to do community outreach, to be there to say, this is who we are, come and invite people in and talk about the programs that we offer, and there's displays of student work and artist work, instructors work in the tent. So that was one thing that we did, and now that time has passed, for the winter months, as far as getting word out, we rely heavily on word of mouth.
And there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
Because, at this day and age, you could advertise in the newspaper, and I'm not quite sure, even with, the Quabog Current that gets delivered to my home.
Yep.
I'm not sure I always see everything that's in it every week.
Right.
Sometimes it's easy to overlook something. So it's like, I think word of mouth is a wonderful way of getting information out.
And I think too, because sometimes, an advert in these things, you just have, you can say a little bit about it, but Workshop 13 is really a place that you need to experience. You go there one time and you go into the Grand Hall for an event and you're like, wow, I had no idea this place was here. And you come back and you tell all your friends, and that's how, that's how it really...
Absolutely. I have been to the open mics there.
Yes, you've performed.
I've performed at the open mics there, and we were talking just before we started. The great thing about the open mic at Workshop 13 is that people actually come to listen to the performer.
Right, yes.
And as a performer, and particularly as a songwriter, I spend a lot of time crafting the words, and it's very frustrating when people are having conversations and I can't even hear what I'm singing.
Yes.
So Workshop 13 is great for that.
Yes.
I have been lucky enough to discover the Heart Collectors.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah, they're coming back in April, I believe.
Great.
So, yeah.
I have seen them both times.
Okay.
And certainly look forward to seeing them again.
Yeah.
I was just there this past weekend for the the play,
The Welcome Home play. Yes.
Which was a very powerful play. It was a wonderful way of marking Veterans Day.
Yes, it sure was.
And just such a eye-opening experience, and yet so well done. And it showed what a space like Workshop 13 can do.
Yes.
So, I really feel like it has become a treasure within the community.
Yes.
And we're very, very lucky to have it. So if people are interested in programs at Workshop 13, what is their best way of getting information?
So the best way would be online on our website. Our website has the most up-to-date listings of all the classes, events, meetups, just about everything that you'd want to know. When you go onto the website for the first time, you'll be prompted to join our mailing list. So that's a great way too, because we send out, normally I send out 1 or 2 email blasts a month. However, this week I'll tell you about this, we launched a fundraising campaign. So we're doing 13 reasons to support Workshop 13. So everybody's getting a mail blast every day. So every 30,
All right.
For 13 days. But that's the best way to go online and join the mailing list. Follow us on Facebook if you're on Facebook. Those are all really great ways to find out what's happening. And you can always come in. Like, we are open. Well, normally my hours were Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to about 5. But with the opening of Clayworks, I'm going to be there much more often. So yes. So basically, if you're driving down Church Street and you see the open sign outside, you can definitely just come in, and we would just be very happy to show anyone around and talk about our programs. And it's
and you have all types of classes available.
Yes, we do. Yes, so we offer classes from. One thing that we pride ourselves on is we try to really cover a lot of areas. So we have a great fine arts program. So we have instructors like Gary Lippincott and Rock Goudreau and Eliza Moser, who teach oil painting, figure drawing. We have watercolor artists, illustration classes. It's really pretty awesome, some of the stuff that the students are doing. So that's the fine arts section. We also have things that are more for people who find that might be a little intimidating at first. Like, I just want to do more crafty type stuff. So we have different events. In fact, we have a few coming up that are like a boho wreath making workshop. So we have these Friday night. Come with a few friends, BYOB, all the supplies are included. We give you instruction, and then you just make this craft. And they're all higher quality crafting things. They're nice. So so there's that. And we are very excited about launching a new music program. So this is something that we've been wanting to do for a while, but have just had a hard time getting it together.
Well, sure. I mean, there's so much to do.
Yeah,
so little resources in terms just of time and people.
Right.
And the one thing I think we should point out for people who aren't familiar is that Workshop 13 has really been a grassroots thing.
Yeah.
This isn't where somebody with a whole lot of money came
in
and said, we're going to set up this art.
Right.
This was...
no, not at all. In fact, it started in, we're called Workshop 13 because we started in 2013. That's when the doors opened. But it was, the building was a church, and then it was a senior center. And it's 120 years old now, but it was in pretty bad shape, and 2 local artists, Rock Goudreau and Chris DiMargio, kind of went in and said, this is an incredible space. We really need to get this space and renovate it and try to open as a cultural arts center for the community, a nonprofit. So they did that, and when I was just looking at the pictures the other day of how it transformed, and it was just a collaboration of a bunch of friends and local people, you know, just calling each other saying, hey, can you come help me with the floors? You know, can you bring your tools? It was really this just great, there was no big, and you just kind of did it when you had the money, you know, we're going to have to put that off for now. And, you know, and you just, and that's how we go. Everything is just a little bit at a time. But yeah, definitely not.
But I have seen it grow so much. My wife and I did a poetry music program along with a friend of ours a number of years ago. And at that time, the Great Hall was a very echoey.
Yes, yes.
It was really a challenge because you would say something and it would echo back about 10 times.
Yes.
But, you know, the acoustics have been tamed. Brian Gerengi,
he's fantastic.
Does sound for a lot of things, and we've got to give him a shout out because
Brian is.
It has amazed me that you can go in there and have a full band, complete with drummers, and it does not blast your eardrums out.
Yes.
Which is an accomplishment in a space like that.
Yeah.
So you know, but you're right. It is growing little by little.
Yep.
So with this new music program.
Right. So the music program, we now offer classes in piano and violin, and we are seeking out more instructors to offer things like guitar. So if you know anyone that's interested. But a lot of people call us and ask, particularly for children, because in the Ware Public Schools, if I have it correctly, I don't think there's a music program until like 5th or 6th grade. So you have this big gap of younger children who are really looking for something. And our you know, our ultimate goal is to be able to offer these in a class form. So for example, violin classes, so that, you know, having a group just brings the tuition down. So it makes it more affordable for everyone. So
yeah, you know, and I think there are advantages too in group. Again, that, you know, children tend to be more social.
Yeah. Yep.
So in doing the group classes, they're not the only child doing it.
Right.
And it gives them a chance to socialize a little bit.
Right.
And that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So yeah, with the music program, it's part of it would be the instruments, like learning to play an instrument. But the other part is the classes like the workshop that you just taught, which was songwriting as a creative art. That's the other part that we were trying to grow. And in fact, Carla Newman, do you know Carla? She's yeah. So she's going to be offering a class. I'm forgetting the title, but it's a really great title. But it's really like how to read music, because she, as a course director, finds that she has a lot of people who aren't comfortable reading music. So it's just this.
You know, I have to admit, I have been a performer and musician for 50 plus years.
Right.
And do not read music.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you might want to take the class.
Sounds like a class right there for me to sign up for.
I think it would be for all ages. So yeah.
You know, and the piano lessons actually sound pretty good too. So, what are some upcoming events?
Right. So. Let's see. So tonight we have an open mic night, which is open mics are the third Friday of every month, and that is a great night where you know, you have people sign up to play, and you get people from all over that come. It's just a really good venue for an open mic. So that's the third Friday of every month. But coming up next weekend, December 1st, we have a concert called Freedom from Tyranny, and it's kind of a psychedelic blues band. It'll be a lot of fun. So that's one. And then on December 8th, we have a family-friendly event that is the Artsy Elves Holiday Fair. And this is our 4th year doing it. We do it as the same day that the town hall does the tree and wreath stroll. So ideally we just have families coming out and kind of going from there to walk down to Church Street. And at the Artsy Elves Holiday Fair, it's a time where it's a free event. You come in and you can try you know, fiber arts, your paint and ornament, you can try printmaking. We have all these artsy, crafty stations open. But people sometimes get confused and they think that it's a holiday fair and you can come and buy made
Right.
things, and I keep thinking we need to change the name or clearly.
Yeah, it is difficult. I'm sure because there are so many craft fairs
Right.
this time of year.
Right. Yeah.
That people, I can imagine,
They
easily
think that
get
it's
confused,
they
but-
come in and say, "Where's the craft fair?" And it's
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
but it's
but
wonderful
this
that
is-
it gives people a chance to come in and try
That's
crafts.
right. That's right. And we really want to open the doors to the community and let people know that, who we are and what we offer, and make it available to all. So that day is great. The kids can decorate cookies, have hot cocoa, and then up in the Grand Hall we have Santa, so they can get their picture taken with Santa, and and we'll also have holiday caroling sing-alongs going on. So
wonderful.
it's really a great time,
It
and all
sounds
the
like a great
yeah,
time.
and you have all the Workshop 13 volunteers. We all dress as little artsy elves, and so we
Okay.
can imagine that.
All right.
So yeah, it's a great day. So that's December 8th, and then December 16th we have the Ware Community Jazz Ensemble. So they're doing they're calling it Deck the Halls. So this is their kind of holiday show, and that's a Sunday, and that's a free event, and it starts at 2:00, and they will have, so the Ware Community Jazz will be here in December, and then also again in around Mardi Gras time. I think it's March. So
Okay.
yeah, so those are the things that we have coming up in the next few weeks.
Great,
So,
great.
yeah.
So be sure to mark your calendars for these.
Hmm.
So is there a question that I did not ask that you wish I would have asked?
Let's see. How are we funded? That
Oh,
maybe is a
okay.
good question. I guess
Right,
I
yeah.
want to talk about that because we've just launched a fundraiser that I'd like people to know about.
Sure.
So Workshop 13, we're a nonprofit, and we rely heavily on donations and grant writings, grant funding. But yeah, we are always in the need for volunteers. So if anybody ever wants to come and just get involved, like there's always, today I was like, oh, we have no one. I was trying to quickly shovel all the snow in front before class started. So we're all
Oh.
just coming together to do things like that, and that's part of it. And it's it's a great group of people, but we're always in need of help with things like that. So if anybody has time and they want to come donate their time to volunteer, doing a number of different things, definitely get in touch with us. And then, the other part is, fundraising. I launched a fundraiser a few days ago for Giving Tuesday. Have you heard of Giving Tuesday?
Right.
So that's it's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So it's a day of global giving where people are encouraged to give to their favorite charity. And so Workshop 13 thought this year, we just found out that we needed to replace our oil tanks. So it's a huge expense.
Yes.
It was like, okay, we're going to launch this fundraiser in hopes that we can raise some funds to pay for these tanks. And so we launched a few days ago, and it's called 13, because we're Workshop 13, 13 reasons to support the arts in your community. And every day, if you go online, you'll see on our website another reason that kind of is a reason that the arts are just good for the community, and then also how Workshop 13 in particular ties into that.
Right,
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah, and I would have to say that Workshop 13 has certainly been a excellent community member and has really helped the community grow. So Marie, I want to thank you for coming in and
Yes.
talking to us about Workshop 13.
Great.
And we will see you again next time on Creative Connections.
Great.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.